In this video, I will demonstrate the process of creating a 3D model using a smartphone and RealityCapture. I will start by walking you through the installation of RealityCapture and sharing tips on how to take photos for the 3D scan before we dive into using the software. Finally, I will export the model into Unreal Engine 5 to use in the 3D environment. Before installing and launching RealityCapture, you will first need to download and install the Epic Games launcher. Search for and navigate to the Epic Games website and download the installer from there. Once the download is complete, run the installer and follow the on-screen instructions to complete the installation process. Afterward, open the Epic Games launcher, locate and click on the RealityCapture tab. Click the download button to download the latest version of RealityCapture. And once the installation is complete, you'll be ready to start using this software. There are a few things to note when using a smartphone to capture images for the 3D scan. When scanning objects with parts raised off the ground, ensure that the base it is sitting on is not too wide. Otherwise, artifacts may appear due to blending between the scan and the base object. To mitigate this issue, use a smaller base that won't interfere with the scan, allowing you to capture the bottom details from a bottom-up angle. Ensure that the lighting is diffused and that no directed light is used. White light should also be used to avoid affecting the base color of the object. Use the camera grid to align the object at the center for every image. This will help maintain high overlap between images, which should be about 70% in all directions to ensure better image alignment and higher model detail. Maintain focus and capture sharp, steady images. Avoid hasty movements, as those can result in blurry and unusable photos. Be systematic. Avoid randomly take images around the object. Take loops around it at different elevations or follow a grid. Move around the object. Avoid taking shots from the same spot while only changing the camera angle. An organized variety of camera positions and angles will surely produce better results. To display the contents list and the working area, change the layout from single view to a 3-panel view. You can also change the view type by clicking and holding the left mouse button on the Aspect button in the top right-hand corner of a view window, then releasing it over the view type you want to use. In this case, I changed mine to display the 3D view in the center and the 2D view on the right. To add the images to this project, click on the Inputs button to select all the images in the folder, or choose the folder that contains the images. The images that are added are displayed in the panel on the left. Run the aligned images to detect and match common tie points of image features to create a sparse points cloud. During this process, the camera positions, orientations, and internal camera parameters are calculated for every image. Once images are aligned, you'll be able to see them in a 3ds view. To quickly view the model in 3D, you may then proceed with reconstructing it in preview mode. Rescale the reconstruction region to fit only the object before reconstructing it in normal mode, which requires more time. Finally, reconstruct in high detail mode after the normal details are confirmed. To use the 3D model in Unreal Engine 5, the polygon counts must be significantly reduced. You can use the Simplify function in Tools to achieve this. You can reduce the polygons by either an absolute or a relative amount. In this case, I chose absolute to reduce the polygons to a specific number, entered the target polygon count, and then clicked Simplify. Check the final quality to ensure that the model shape is not compromised. You may also delete the previous iterations of the model, keeping only the one with the highest level of detail for texture reprojection onto the low poly model later. In my workflow, I will further clean up the topology and perform UV unwrapping on the model in Maya, before proceeding with texture reprojection in RealityCapture. Continue to export out the model in OBJ format. In the Export Model settings, change the Transformations preset to Maya. This will increase the scale from 1 to 100, as the units are measured in centimeters instead of meters in Maya. Click OK to export. When importing the model into Maya, it appears to float above the ground level. This is because the model is positioned at the same distance as in RealityCapture. To resolve this, go back to RealityCapture, navigate to Tools, and locate the Set Ground Plane drop-down box. Select Set Ground by Reconstruction region to bring the model back to ground level. Then, re-import the OBJ model into Maya. Examine the model and remove any unnecessary polygons. Be sure to fill all gaps before retopologizing the model. Creating textures in RealityCapture is relatively straightforward. Navigate to the settings in the Mesh Model tab and select the desired texture resolution for your model. the results typically look good upon completion. Next, apply a checkerbox texture to the model and inspect the UV unwrap. As observed, UV seams should ideally be placed in less visible areas and kept to a minimum. Consider switching the unwrap method from geometric to mosaicism. While the mosaicism method is still experimental, it often generates better results, but with a longer processing time. Alternatively, you can use an external 3D application such as Maya to redo the UV unwrapping for more control over the process. After completing the UV unwrapping in Maya, import the model into RealityCapture. Rename the model to identify it as a target easily. Navigate to Texture Projection under Tools and enable normal reprojection before clicking the Reproject button. In the export settings, you may select the preferred file format for the textures. Change the transformation preset to Unreal Engine, which will reset the scale value to 1. Set the rotation values back to 0. Once the export is complete, we will proceed to import the 3D model into the environment in Unreal Engine. Create a new folder in the content browser to contain your model and textures. Since we will be setting up the material in Unreal Engine, we will disable import materials and do not search for them in the import settings. Import in the textures into the folder as well. Create a new material by right-clicking on the content browser. Select the base color and normal map textures, left-click and drop them into the material editor. Connect the base color map to the base color inputs and normal map into the normal inputs. Double-click on the static mesh and assign the material to it. It appears a little shiny on the mesh, therefore we are going to add a roughness value to reduce the shine. After completing the material setup, position the mesh within the environment. Rescale the mesh if necessary. That concludes my tutorial. Thank you for staying until the end. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it informative. See you next time.